Hello, my amazing children. This is Grandma Carla, and I have been gone a long time. I am here today to read you 10 Tales of Christmas. It's getting close to Christmas time, and I wanted to do something special for Christmas. And this is a collection of some really old, great stories that were written long ago, not that long ago. I mean, a lot of them were written just a little bit before Grandma Carla was born. That's pretty old, huh? But I wanted to read this to you in celebration of Christmas, when we celebrate Christ's birth, and also celebration of Grandma Carla coming back to reading on her channel again. I took a little break and I got a graduate degree in library science, and now I'm back. So here we go, and we're going to read 10 Tales of Christmas. This is a collection by Lynne G. Miller, and we're going to read the first one tonight, which is Colin's Christmas Candle. And this was originally by Barbara Raferty. And I'll have to find, it says that it was originally written for Child Life magazine in 1956. Now, Grandma Carla was born in 1958. Let's see how this story stood the test of time. If stories are still around after a long time, they're usually pretty good. Let's listen. Colin's Christmas Candle. Colin walked slowly home from school, scuffing his feet as he crossed the hill of the little Irish fishing village. It did not seem like Christmas Eve. Perhaps this was because it had not yet snowed. But Colin knew that there was another reason why it did not seem like Christmas, a reason that he did not dare even whisper in his heart. He looked out across the lead-colored sea. There was not a speck of a ship on the horizon, and 7 days ago, his father's fishing schooner had been due home. "I'll bring you a sheepdog, pup from the Shetland Isles," Colin's father had said when he left. "You'll have it a week before Christmas, I am certain." But tonight was Christmas Eve. Colin looked toward the lighthouse, high on the hill. 7 days ago, a north gale had short-circuited the lighthouse wires and snuffed out the great light. For 7 days, there'd been no beam to guide a schooner home. Colin pushed open the cottage door. He heard his mother moving in the kitchen. "We'll need more peat for the fire, Colin," she said as she came into the front room. "And it's nearly time to light the candle for the Christ child." "I'm not caring much about lighting a candle, Mother," he said. "I know, for I'm not caring much either," replied his mother. "But everybody in Ireland lights a candle on Christmas Eve, even when there's sadness in the house. It is a symbol that your house and your heart are open to poor strangers. Come now, I've 2 candles, one for each of us. If you gather some peat, we'll be ready for supper soon." Colin went outside to gather the peat. "I'm not caring much about lighting a candle," he repeated to himself as he glanced toward the lighthouse, when there's not so much as a beam of light to guide a schooner home. But while Colin was staring at the lighthouse, an idea hit him like a gust of wind. He turned and started running up the long hill to the lighthouse. He pounded on the door, and Mr. Duffy, the keeper, opened it a crack. "What's got into you, young fellow, startling an old man like me, and on Christmas Eve, too?" "Mr. Duffy," gasped Colin, "how did you used to light the lighthouse?" Could you do it again? Why, the electric batteries are blown, my boy, dead as can be, and none to be brought from here to Dublin. I mean, how did you light the lighthouse before there were such things as batteries? Why, by the oil lamp that's buried in the cellar. Now, what wild things have ye in mind? There's no oil kept here now. Mr. Duffy stared at Colin and then lowered his voice. Sure, 'tis your father you're thinking of, if he's one of those on the lost schooner. Would kerosene light the lamp? Well, I suppose, Mr. Duffy mused. But don't go getting any ideas in your head, lad. I'd like to see anyone find a spare quart of kerosene in this village, much less enough to... Colin was gone before Mr. Duffy could finish his sentence. Down the hill he ran, back to the cottage. Quickly, he gathered 4 pails from the kitchen and darted for the door. His mother ran after him to the steps. Colin, 'tis time to light. Colin! But he was gone. Colin knew that a candle in an Irish home on Christmas Eve meant that any stranger coming to the door would be welcomed and given whatever he asked. It was 5 o'clock now, and he could see candles beginning to glow in every cottage in the valley below him. He didn't stop running until he came to the first house. Could you spare me but half a cup of kerosene from your lamp? He asked. Have you any kerosene in your cellar? Colin went to every house where a candle shone in the window. In 1 hour, he had filled 2 pails. Slowly and painfully, he carted them up to the lighthouse door. He knocked. Mr. Duffy appeared and stared. What manner of miracle is this? He asked. This is enough to keep the lamp burning for the night. I'll get more yet, Colin shouted as he started down the hill. It's early still. After 2 more long hours, Colin had gathered 2 more pails of kerosene. When he was halfway up the hill for the second time, he saw the tower suddenly flicker with light. A great beam spread out over the valley and stretched toward the dark heart of the sea. Mr. Duffy had lighted the lamp. When Colin reached home, it was very late. His mother jumped from her seat near the fire. Colin, where have you been? You've had no supper, nor lighted your candle. I've lighted a candle, Mother, and a big one. It's a secret, and I can't tell you yet, but it was a huge candle indeed. After that, Colin ate his supper and went quietly to bed. He dreamed all night of candles and fishing schooners and kegs of oil. Then a great shouting aroused him from his sleep. The ship has come! The ship has come in! 'Twas the light, they said, that Mr. Duffy lighted. They were but 10 miles out all week after the storm, just drifting in the fog. Colin opened his eyes. He saw that dawn was breaking and that his mother was standing at the door. He bounded from bed and pulled on his clothes, then ran to the door and looked toward the harbor. It was true then. There was the schooner with its rigging standing out against the gray of the sea. Colin raced for the harbor. He felt a moist wind in his face. It was beginning to snow. Oh, it was Christmas all right, falling from heaven and right into his heart. That was a good story. Okay, so I'll show you the only picture that they had, and that was a picture of Colin carrying 2 buckets of kerosene. That was a precious little story. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it puts a little Christmas joy into your heart. He lit a very big candle for the Christ child, didn't he? And so I hope to be back tomorrow with another Christmas story. This is Grandma Carla, and I love you.